Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn about the Indian post-colonial prose. I have taken reference from the M.K. Naik books, History of Indian English Literature. A large part of the Indian English prose of the pre-independence period are inevitably political in character. With the attempt of independence, overplaying political question and finally answered the what fresh political thinking continued to be provided by men like M. N. Roy, J. Prakash Narayan, and R. M. Lohia. These are the main prose writer of this era. mean these writers has taken take a step toward the right prose in Indian English literature. Their work has already been mentioned. Other types of prose, most of which had also flourished earlier, continue to do so equally vigorously. But most of the subject of the prose is on political issues. These include autobiography and biography, historical and religious writing, travelogue, and prose of social criticism. It is interesting fact that all these different types of non-fictional prose have been able handled by Nirad C. Chaudhary. This fictional prose handled by the Nirad uh, C. Chaudhary, the most outstanding writer of prose during the post-independence period. His first literary effort, Defense of India, or Nationalization of Indian Army, 1935, is a noted study of military organization in British India. Before the British independence, before the independence era. What is the topic? Defense of the India or Nationalization of Indian Army. Study of military organization in British India. What is the organization of the British military in India? This brief monograph for 73 pages closely argued that deals with the questions such as the character, spirit, the quality of colonial Indian army. And these questions also raised by this the writer. What is that? Character, spirit, quality of the colonial Indian army, the unjust recruitment policy and its harmful effects the army, need of Indianization and the mode of achieving it. It is, however, Chaudhary's the autobiography of an unknown Indian, the first Indian, I think, in English autobiography. That is the autobiography of an unknown Indian, as written in 1951, which is not only the most characteristics and best work, it also contains all the basic ideas that have been shaped is a highly individualist worldview. The story of this development as told here is that of the middle class Bengal, Bengali boy ended with the acutely sensitive mind, a restless spirit of inquiry. Those are little boy, middle class Bengali boy, sensitive mind boy, restless spirit of inquiry, strongly iconoclastic outlook, an encyclopedic interest, a boy who fell in love with England and Western civilization at a very early age. And this, what is the topic of that? That the one lonely girl and attract toward the British culture, dedicated to memory of the British Empire in India. And this book also dedicated to British Empire, actually uh, memory of member of British Empire in India. All that was good and living within us was made shape and quickened by the British rule. In spite of these great innate gifts, however, so this life was one of the failure until he was recognized as a writer quite late in life. He himself confessed to Malalas that he's haunted me throughout my life. Means he also confessed that I am haunted with the throughout my life. During the years of my education, I was become a stranger to my environment. When I am growing that time, my education was a stranger to the environment. Organizing my intellectual and moral life along the independent nexus in the next 10 years, I was operates of the feeling agnotism environment. Restless agnotism to the environment, do not mixing with the other people also. I was oppressed by feeling of the agnotism to the environment. and in the last phase I become hostile to it. It is possible. I mean, three pages of the writer mentioned in that particular prose. It is possible to see in this alienation the chief source of the Chaudhary's highly unorthodox view of Indian history and civilization. In the essay of the course of Indian history at the end of the autobiography, Chaudhary claimed that from the personal standpoint, this historical thesis has emancipated him from his malicious, but the impartial observer like to feed that it is the other way around, that is the malicious that explain the historical thesis. If you feel that this is like a historical thesis, now next point, Chaudhary thesis briefly in the Indian history compares the three cycles of during each of strong and creative foreign influence for the primary motive from, that is that the influence of the British culture to Indian family also, or Indian especially boys, European Aryan and Muslim and British respectively, but Indo-Agnatic plan, the vampire of the geography, its every enumerating claims extreme of the climate and during the fatness of the topography every time led to the degeneration of the inventor. Writing in 1951, Chaudhary proposed that I expect either the United States singly for combination of the life United States and the British Commonwealth to re-establish and regenerate the foreign domination of India. Means what is the situation or what is the particular era of that particular uh, time, as explained in this book or prose. The this extremist, this appears very much like an intellectual extension of the wish fulfilling of self-confessed Anglophile alienated from his own culture, at the same time all too conscious of the fact that British Empire had conferred the subjected on him, but the citizenship conferred that there is involved in the British Empire. Chaudhary claims that autobiography is more a nation than a personal history. Means this autobiography like the nations, talking about the nation, but little bit autobiography. This historical aspect, the least significant through the most spectacular element in the book, which is at the best at the personal and social levels. Means this book also talking about the personal and social level. Chaudhary's self-portrait is all more fascinating because of the unknown Indian is so much of an unusual Indian at the picture of life. A small East Bengal town in the early years of the 20th century is drawn with the many equative details. The historical thesis, the autobiography, has merely raised the dust controversy. It is a depiction of the man and in nuclear science, since that makes one of the most remarkable example. It's genre in Indian English literature. Means this talking about the not only personal, also talking about the uh, depiction of the one mind, and other hand the other also talk about the uh, nations. And next one, a passage to England, was the product of the short visit to England in 1951. This account of the adventure of the Brown in man in search of the civilization constitution, a very visual travel book. This is also thing that we can say that this is the travel book. Means this boy or writer attract to the civilization of British. Chaudhary self-stated, I am here to grasp the reality I would call the timeless England, which I was seeing for the first time, and which I was inevitably to set against the timeless India in which I had been steeped all my life. So, what is the transition? What is the changes in my life according to British Army? So much modern England, but angle 19th century England of which has been devoted admire all his life. He's admired out all his life according to civil civilization of. This is a clear form that this chapter on the welfare state is sketched, and when the contrast England with India, timeless India, but the India was highly personal, all this bit. Passage to India is talking about the one person has visited England and to what attract toward that particular period, and what is the difference between India and British culture, and that is why a timeless India use this phrase. India has a highly personal vision. All this bit. Prejudice have filled a Chaudhary best insight are revealed when the comments on the typical features of the British characters such as the inward classicism, the English people who have to score clubs at the northern and other southern eastern silence of the British crowd, the Englishman commercially honesty and his veneration of the Indian. It is obvious throughout that Chaudhary looks at the England in the rose time spectacles, and one will have to go writers like George Mikes. So he is capable of the irony, and for the other side of means the one uh, suppose Indian English pro you think about the or write about the Indian English writer prose especially, that is the Viraj C. Chaudhary. You do not avoid that particular, and this passage to India, nationalism, the first prose also. These are the written by N. C. Chaudhary. And now the next, the continent of the circle essay of the peoples of India. Elaborate the historical this is already set for the Chaudhary autobiography. Is the Chaudhary's autobiography main uh, you can main focus of the say that the or the generalization they do not of the stable scrub below grand scammer. These are the subjects such as history, politics, religion, and culture and literature. Which topic handled by this? There's the which topics? Uh, History, politics, religion, culture, and literature. For instance, lifelong observation has convinced that me that there is a stick of insensitivity of the Hindu uh, liberation of Goa was the Hitler occupation of Austria. There is no such thinking. So-called Hinduism will never be destroyed, but this surviving only ugliness. Hinduism dedicate character laws, heterogeneous, low book, Lawrence being representative, at least low look, Lawrence unrepresented class of men. Their writing satisfy of double passion, lust and class hatred. These are involved in so many themes in that particular content of the circle. Throughout the intellectual in India, in such a more balanced and triple convention of the so there is a standard. In his historical study of the intellectual tradition, uh, there is a Hindu Muslim Indo-European Chaudhary emphasized the reformist of the zeal of modern Hindu intellectual traditional. Their Muslim counterparts at the debate at the inevitable element through intellectual of the Indian Renaissance. The persist past is not the only feeling of the intellectual. Another is the alienation of the majority of people, thus leading to this alienation. Means this topic also handle the alienation, loneliness. It suggests some remedies of the situation. However, Chaudhary means without Chaudhary, there we do not see there is a writer in that era. Culture in the vanity in black. Then scholar extraordinary life of the Pedridge Maxwell Sahitya Academy over 1975. Chaudhary natural content Hinduism. These are the topic, prose topic. And dazzle him. Chaudhary's prose is a copyright example of the overlooked dictum style is man. The learning mark of the insatiable intellectual curiosity, almost encyclopedia, to talk to all knowledge of the province, breadth of the interest, reminiscence of the Renaissance, humanist as parallel of the age specialization, scholar, happiest try to know more there about the but born in the rebel. In the nearest so many writers, but these are the and I think there is a one book just to see that a history of Indian English literature written by M.K. Naik. If you have any MK Naik book. The most famous book has read by Setnet student also. You can refer this book for your uh, Indian English literature essay, and larger interest naturally make the awareness periodic style was to the Brazilian means here Orthodox families means Niresh Chaudhary Tuto Anita Desai after so many writers have written about the but these are the process of the so many you can throw there the autobiography as including the prose also biography also and so many writers Savitri Devinanda then I think just this start up the just I'm starting or whatever there is problem you can ask our autobiography biography also and then political and history religion and philosophy these are issues handled by so many writers uh, literature of the Tallis and Bell's criticism. You can see that book so so many writers here just I'm do not mention here but the Guveke Gokak GSR more the concept of the then VS Mohinty Chandra techniques and SN Das Gupta here see that there so many writers are writing in prose so thank you very much I have a problem so so necessary to upload it was a little bit time and within I think 13 June we have to complete our syllabus so sorry for the there is a little bit trouble you if you do not understand you can ask me in my channel or whatever in my WhatsApp group also or personal also thank you very much.